On July 7, 2026 in Atlanta, a murder happened right on the green grass under the eyes of tens of thousands of people. The victim was not a player. The victim was the primal soul of the sport. We are looking at the World Cup round of 16 match between Argentina and Egypt. At the 59th minute, Mostafa Ziko scores a brilliant counter-attacking goal. Egypt goes up 2-0 against the reigning world champions. The stadium erupts in absolute disbelief. Hossam Hassan, the manager of Egypt, is running down the touchline celebrating the greatest tactical triumph of his life. But then referee Francois Letexier touches his earpiece. The goal is wiped out. It is not wiped out for a clear offside. It is not erased for a vicious foul. It is erased because of a soft foot-to-foot touch that happened 80 yards away on the opposite side of the pitch long before the ball reached the net. This was not refereeing. This was a football autopsy. We are promised that the video assistant referee system exists to fix clear and obvious errors. But what we witnessed was a cold machine dissecting a living game until it found a reason to kill it. The tension here is absolute. On one side, you have the raw emotion of an underdog nation fighting for glory. On the other side, you have a sterile protocol demanding impossible perfection. The beautiful game is being suffocated by legalities. To understand why the dream of Hossam Hassan and his team was crushed, we have to stop looking at the ball. We must look at the rulebook of the International Football Association Board. There is a linguistic loophole in the laws of the game that allows men in hidden rooms to perform a football autopsy while the match is still breathing. I will show you exactly how this legal trap works and why it targets the weak by the end of this story. You will see the complete picture of how authority manipulates the rules. Look at the scoreboard just before that 59th minute decision. What you see is not a football accident. You're watching the systematic dismantling of a football empire. Egypt did not just get lucky to be ahead. They were playing with the heart of warriors and the minds of chess grandmasters. In the 15th minute, Yasser Ibrahim scored a powerful header to open the game 1-0. That was the first shockwave. Then came the ultimate test of nerve. At the 21st minute, Lionel Messi stepped up to take a penalty. The entire world expected the equalizer. The script seemed written for the favorites to strike back, but the Egyptian goalkeeper, Mostafa Ziko, dove and saved it. That save was a massive statement of intent. Egypt was not just surviving against Argentina, they were conquering them. The momentum was entirely in their hands. Hossam Hassan had built a psychological fortress on the sideline. His players believed they could topple the giants. They were faster and stronger and more desperate for the win. Let us pause and think about what it takes for a team like Egypt to reach that 59th minute. It takes years of preparation and endless sacrifice. It takes a perfect tactical plan to neutralize the best players on the planet. Hossam Hassan orchestrated a masterclass. His defenders were fearless. His attackers were clinical. When Ziko put the ball in the net, the stadium in Atlanta witnessed pure magic. That is the magic football sells to the world. It is the promise that the underdog can win. But the system took that magic and put it under a microscope. They paused the celebration. They rewound the tape. They searched for a flaw. And when you search long enough, you will always find a flaw. Football is a collision sport. People touch each other. Feet tangle. Then came the decision to erase the goal of Ziko. It should have been the final blow to seal the fate of the champions. Instead, it became the exact moment the system intervened to rescue the powerful. Taking away that goal did not just change the numbers on the board. It destroyed the psychological foundation of the Egyptian team. It sent a clear and devastating message to the challengers. That message is simple. Playing perfectly on the pitch is not enough. You also have to beat the invisible men watching screens in a dark room. The stakes here go far beyond one single match in Atlanta. We are talking about the soul of global football. If a team can do everything right and still have their triumph stolen by a microscopic review of an irrelevant tackle, then the sport is fundamentally broken. The passion of Hossam Hassan turned into pure despair on that touchline. He realized his team was fighting a war they were never allowed to win. They were facing an opponent far more dangerous than any striker on the field. That opponent is a piece of text called the Attacking Possession Phase Protocol. This protocol gives match officials the terrifying power of time travel. They can go back as far as they want to find a mistake. The injustice is burning right now, and it demands our full attention. This is not just about a disallowed goal. This is about how power protects power. You might be tempted to look away and just accept the final score of 3-2. You might think the big teams always find a way to win. But if you care about the integrity of this game, you need to stay with me right here. We are about to open the rulebook together. We will expose the exact mechanism that robbed Hossam Hassan of his historic victory. Stay here and watch how the system operates when nobody is asking questions. In the justice system, every crime has a statute of limitations. But inside the video review room of international football, the power to rewind time is infinite. We left off wondering how a completely legal strike could be cancelled. The answer lies in the rulebook of the International Football Association Board. We need to examine Law 12 and the Attacking Possession Phase Protocol. They call it the APP. This is the exact mechanism that destroyed the match in Atlanta. When Mostafa Ziko scored at the 59th minute, the system initiated an immediate review. They looked at the finish. They found nothing wrong. So they kept rewinding the tape. They went back to the very origin of the counterattack. They found a challenge. It was a foot-to-foot contact. It was incredibly soft. Look at the facts of that specific challenge. The contact happened deep inside the defensive half of Egypt. Alongside this, the tackle did not stop the play or cause an injury. Alongside this, the tackle did not use excessive force. Alongside this, the tackle was not reckless in any way. Alongside this, the player of Argentina went down with absolute ease to buy a free kick. According to Law 12, a foul must involve carelessness or excessive force. This contact had neither of those elements. But the APP protocol does not care about the spirit of the foul. The protocol states that if the attacking team wins the ball and maintains possession, the video assistant can examine the entire sequence. There is no distance limit. There is no time limit. Do you see the terrifying loophole here? How far back is too far? Can they rewind 3 minutes? Can they rewind 5? If a team keeps the ball for 10 minutes, can the machine erase a goal for a scraped heel 10 minutes earlier? They used a microscope to find a violation that the naked eye ignores entirely. The referee, Francois Letexier, blew the whistle. He canceled the goal. He erased the advantage. He did not manage the game. He executed a football autopsy. He looked for a technicality to declare a legitimate piece of sporting art dead on arrival. Is this the sport we fell in love with? Is this how we want champions to be decided on the world stage? We are told the technology exists to prevent scandalous and obvious errors. We are told it is there to protect the integrity of the match, but instead it is being weaponized to punish the beautiful imperfections of the game. When you give referees the power to overturn reality without limits, they stop being guardians of fair play. They become forensic scientists looking for a reason to say no. If you want to see the pure reflection of human despair against bureaucratic machinery, you just need to look at the eyes of Hossam Hassan on the sideline. Let us slow down and look at the man. He is a legend in his home country. He brought his squad to Atlanta to play brave and attacking football against the heavy favorites. He did not order his players to defend with 10 men behind the ball. He commanded them to attack. When the referee pointed his finger to cancel the 2-goal lead, Hossam Hassan did not just lose a point on the scoreboard. He lost his faith in the structure of the tournament. Imagine the physical toll on the players of Egypt. They sprinted the length of the pitch. They executed a flawless transition. They celebrated wildly near the corner flag. And then they had to stand there in the humid air of Atlanta, waiting for a verdict from a hidden room. The adrenaline drains away. The muscle fatigue sets in. The psychological whiplash is brutal. You could see the realization wash over his face. He was standing in the technical area, waving his arms in pure frustration. His bench was furious. They were shouting not just for a disallowed goal, but for the soul of attacking football itself. Hossam Hassan realized his players could beat 11 superstars on the pitch, but they could never defeat a script written by toxic perfection. Opposite to him stood Francois Letexier. The referee looked completely emotionless. He was just following the protocol. He was a loyal servant to the screen. The contrast is devastating to watch. On one side, you have blood and sweat, and the raw emotion of a lifetime dream. On the other side, you have cold pixels and slow-motion replays dictating the fate of a nation. Let us examine the reality of the reaction. The entire bench of Egypt erupted. They pointed at the field. They pointed at the screens. They knew the contact was minimal. Hossam Hassan was not screaming for a favor. He was screaming for common sense. If you officiate a contact sport like a non-contact sport, you destroy the foundation of the event. The tragedy of this human struggle reached its peak deep into stoppage time. At minute 90 plus 12, Hossam Hassan made a desperate gesture. He asked the referee to check the screen for a penalty claim of his own team. He wanted the machine to show him the exact same justice it showed the opponent. What did Francois Letexier do? He pulled out a yellow card. He punished the manager for demanding equality. The system will gladly search backwards for 80 yards to find a reason to punish Egypt, but it will issue a card when Egypt asks for the exact same treatment. This was the final cut of the scalpel in this football autopsy. The machine does not serve everyone equally. It serves those who already have the power and silences those who ask questions. Think about what you just heard. I want you to go down to the comments right now and tell me your honest thought. When a referee can rewind a game forever to find a soft foul against an underdog, do you think we are protecting fairness, or are we witnessing the legal rigging of a sport? Let me know exactly where you stand, because this changes everything we know about football. People will look at the 3 goals conceded in the last 15 minutes of the match and say the players of Egypt simply ran out of stamina. They are entirely wrong. The death of a football team does not start when the net bulges. It starts when the belief in fairness is broken. I want to give you an insight that the mainstream sports media will completely ignore today. They will focus on the dramatic comeback. But the true turning point of the match was not the final whistle. The match was decided in the mind at the 59th minute. Let us look closely at the timeline of the collapse. 8 minutes after the disallowed goal, Mostafa Ziko actually managed to score again. At the 67th minute, he made it 2-0 for Egypt. On paper, they had their 2-goal lead back. But look at the body language of the players. The celebration was hesitant. They were looking over their shoulders at the referee. The seed of doubt and frustration had already taken root in their minds. They realized that no matter how hard they fought, the system could always intervene. That kind of psychological burden destroys a team from the inside out. When you play against the reigning world champions, you need absolute focus. But the minds of the Egyptian players were no longer on the pitch. They were trapped in the injustice of that football autopsy. The collapse was brutal and inevitable. Hossam Hassan stood on the touchline and watched his tactical masterpiece crumble. He knew his players were not physically exhausted. They were mentally broken by an invisible authority. At the 79th minute, Cristian Romero scored a header to cut the lead to 1-2. Just 4 minutes later, at the 83rd minute, Lionel Messi found the equalizer to make it 2-2. And then, deep into stoppage time at minute 90+2, Enzo Fernandez delivered the final blow with the winning goal. Argentina completed the comeback to win 3-2. The history books will record this as a heroic performance by the champions. But we need to place this match in the broader historical context of how the rulebook is applied. Whenever a massive footballing superpower faces a smaller nation, there is an undeniable double standard. When a player from Argentina makes a soft challenge in the midfield, does the video assistant rewind the tape for a full minute to find a reason to cancel their goal? We all know the reality. The microscopic scrutiny is disproportionately applied to the underdogs. Alongside the physical exhaustion, the underdog has to fight against institutional bias. Alongside the superior talent of the opposition, the underdog has to beat the protocol. Alongside the pressure of the crowd, the underdog has to survive the forensic examination of the officials. This is the ultimate proof that the current system is broken. The attacking possession phase protocol is not a tool for justice. It is a safety net for the powerful. When a giant stumbles, the system provides an opportunity to correct the mistake. When a challenger rises, the system performs a meticulous investigation to put them back in their place. The team of Hossam Hassan did not choke under pressure. They were systematically suffocated by a set of rules designed to demand an impossible standard of perfection. We have created a monster in the name of justice. The video review system was sold to the fans as a simple solution. It was supposed to eliminate the shocking errors, the handballs on the goal line, the obvious offsides. It was never meant to be a forensic tool used to hunt for microscopic touches. But power always expands if left unchecked. The officials in that hidden room are no longer just referees. They are directors reshaping the narrative of the tournament to fit a sterile and flawless vision. What happened in Atlanta is a tragedy for the sport. Francois Letexier applied the exact letter of the law according to the protocol. He can point to the rulebook and say his decision was correct. But in doing so, he destroyed the spirit of the game. He blew his whistle and erased the very essence of why we watch football. We watch for the chaos. We watch for the raw emotion. We watch for the exact kind of brilliant and imperfect counterattack that Egypt executed beautifully. We are now standing at a crossroads. Look at the two sides of this conflict one last time. On one side, you have a beautiful, imperfect game, full of passion and human effort, represented by Hossam Hassan and his brave squad. On the other side, you have a cold, flawless, and sterile football autopsy performed by men staring at screens. Argentina advances to the quarterfinals today, but the soul of the sport was denied entry into that stadium. What price are we willing to pay for this absolute precision? Do we want to watch athletes play a game? Or do we want to watch lawyers argue over a rule book? This debate is going to define the future of everything we love about this sport. The decisions made today will shape the tournaments of tomorrow. If you want to stay awake and see how this institutional power continues to manipulate the rules, you need to be here with me. Follow this journey so we can keep exposing the truth hidden behind the screens. This is not just a tournament. This is a defining moment for the survival of the beautiful game.